Hey, community.
Hey, how you doing? We are 1-2,
Comic Talk.
and we're glad to be here with you. You know, the biggest thing is we want to say that we're okay, and we more than anything else hope that you are doing the
Make
same.
sure to just wash your hands as much as you can.
Grab what you need when you need it. Remember, there's a lot of people out there, especially the elderly, that are in greater need.
I've seen videos. It's messed up where they just can't find anything.
So we hope that you're doing all right, and you know what, we want to definitely use some of the diversionary tactics that we have at hand, such as if you got the books, read them. If you got some people that you've yet to call up and talk to, do so. And speaking of which, let's go ahead and bring somebody that we've yet to actually have on this show.
Metaphorical.
What is
Hey,
up,
man.
party people?
And again, yeah, we hope that you're doing all right, man. You okay?
Yeah, man, just living my best life, on the hunt, dude. Instead of usually I'd be on the hunt for books and shit. Now I'm on the hunt for like toilet. Well, usually I'm on the hunt for like what people consider worthless paper, like comic books. But this time instead of it being comic books, it's fucking toilet paper. So I guess there's that. It's just a different kind of paper you're collecting. But I'd rather be collecting books than collecting toilet paper.
Definitely weird times. Hey, Edge, I hope you're doing all right, man. Yeah, we're definitely in some trippy times, and
Dude, I went to go buy yogurt, right? And then the lady told me, like, I wasn't even thinking of it, nothing of it, right? So tried to buy like 5 packages of yogurt. The lady was like, you can't buy all those.
Wow.
She was like, you can only buy 3 of those.
Wow.
But I'm like, were you telling people that when they were coming here and buying toilet paper? Because it doesn't look like it. Or what's going on with your like whole inventory system? Because I don't know. Is it like the people who make toilet paper, are they not making enough to like supply the demand for it? Or I don't understand how there's like this huge nationwide shortage of toilet paper.
It's weird because it could have went so many different places. I would have, if someone would have said, "Hey, look, all the bottled water that you can find in all the stores is gone." I went, "Okay, I kind of get that." I
I'm
mean,
pretty sure the
it's
Amazon
hard to
sold,
justify, but I kind of get it. You know what I mean?
I'm pretty
But
sure that Amazon is sold out of toilet paper.
But that's the thing is, if someone was to say, 2 weeks ago that look, you're gonna have an issue trying to buy tissue, I just, and I'd be like, no way. You know, what I mean, that's not what's gonna go. I see dry foods going. I see, beef jerky. I see things like that. But if someone say, no, man, it's gonna be Charmin's gonna be the hot topic. I'd be like,
I
are
mean,
you
here
kidding me?
basically the 2 hardest things to get are toilet paper and water, and then everything else besides that, it's like at first, like the first couple days, they weren't limiting people to buying shit, but now it's like it seems like since the way that people acted the first couple days, they've started limiting the amount of quantities that you can buy of like any specific good. So like, which is smart. I understand that shit because
Sure.
that's how you lead to that, like I'm saying, that whole catastrophic fucking food riots type shit when people feel like that they have like this fear of loss of like not being able to get something. And that's what I'm more worried about than actually like this COVID shit is all of the other social changes that it is causing. Like, what about the economic damage that it's doing to our economy right now? The fact that everything's pretty much fucking shut down. Like, anybody who works in food service or who works with people or in places where people gather. I mean, most comic book shops are closed, most malls are closed, pretty much everything's closed. So like,
Yeah, I work in entertainment, so I'm out.
yeah, so like that's gonna, how long does that last? And then like, okay, this 2 weeks or whatever. What if they end up saying after this 2 weeks that it needs to be longer? And then like I'm saying, what's the economic fallout from this? That's the thing that I'm the most worried about is like there's people not going to work right now. There's a lot of
That's
people
me.
not going
Yeah.
to work right now. So like, how does how long does that go on before it becomes an issue? When you're talking about everyone,
It's already
like
becoming an issue, and you know what I mean, because I'm already looking like what you're saying is, you're already forecasting, you're already saying, as it stands right now, we're already hurting. And we've yet to actually feel the impact that this is causing, you know what I mean, on a
Well,
monetary level.
what
All
I'm
we see is it on a speculative level, meaning the market, you know what I mean? That's all speculation at this point. But it
well,
actually tells you what's not going on, which is people are not working.
well,
Or
what I'm saying is that we've had times before in our economy when, like, okay, this portion of the economy wasn't working or laid off or whatever for whatever reason, but we've never had like the whole economy shut down like it is. The only last time we had the economy shut down like it is right now, it was like September 11th
right,
when they pretty much suspended all travel.
right,
We're like half a step from basically martial law. You get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
that's pretty much where we are right now. So like, I'm like I'm saying, I'm more worried about how far is this shit going to escalate on that front more than I'm worried about like getting sick. So
And there's presently a spectrum that we can look at, the way England's handling their situation and how well presently China's handled theirs, and they're on opposite ends of the spectrum. So if we utilize them as a litmus test of what, theoretically could be, you can see, meaning through deductive reasoning for a person that has a certain amount of rationale, where we reside within that spectrum. You know what I mean? So using that type of rationale, you can see that we're not going to be recovering from this as fast as, let's say, China has.
yeah, so like, I mean, I don't know. Like, there's so many question marks about this whole situation that it's hard for me to speak on it without sounding like
No, and me too. I'm trying to be as diplomatic as possible, and I'm not trying to fear monger or freak people out or even cause conspiracy or invoke any type of conspiracy theories, I should say. All I can really say is we kind of know where we're at, you know what I mean, and I'm in hopes that in which the way things are going and how a lot of people are conducting themselves, that we do get out of this relatively soon. And in part also because of, a good reasoning. But what you bring up is, financially speaking, many of us, meaning I'm speaking now for in part of a lot of the nation, don't make a reasonable amount of living. So for those of which that are not working at all, you know what I mean, you're already starving before.
well, what I'm saying is that even people who have like decent income and shit like that, they're still living basically check to check. So like, this is a documented fact. You know what I'm saying? That even
Yeah.
people who make shit damn near six figures are living close to check. Like, they don't have enough in savings that they could go without working for 60 days. So
I'm
like,
I'm easily one of those people. I mean, I live in a relatively small place, it's only 1,100 square feet, and I got 2 kids, wife, me, dog, and I live check to check. And I don't make, in comparison to what most people make around me and what you need to make in this LA area, I don't make enough. You know what I mean? And yeah, we're not sitting well. The lucky thing is I have a garage that's usually my hangout spot, and I have another fridge out there, and we always keep that thing stocked with liquids. And my wife has always been how should I say, a buyer of stocked goods. So she's always overbought. So we've been fortunate to where we've been okay at this point.
man, the more important thing about than stocking up on shit and shit like that is learning survival shit. So like,
well, yeah, exactly. I mean, other than that, we're as financially speaking, we don't have the funds to be able to last long.
well, what I'm saying is, most people, a rich person, money can't buy you the capability to grow food or get access to it just because you have a lot of money. So like, there's gonna be a situation or tipping point where no matter how much money you got, it's not gonna matter. I mean, what's money worth? What's money worth in a society where 90% of the people are like looting for food and water and shit? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Like, who cares if you're rich? You're just a target. Like, they could never even come out of like where they live and shit, or someone would be after them. Like, so that's what I'm saying. It's we are ahead. If this shit keeps progressing, I think we're ahead. There's some scary shit coming down the.
It's definitely unique and odd, you know what I mean? And again, that's why I was saying it's as we go through and see how things handled.
I mean, never before in my life, for example, we're on travel basically banned now here in Indiana, where you can't leave some counties. You can't leave the county. In Indiana, there's like Indianapolis is on a travel ban. The governor issued a thing saying that basically if they catch you driving like on an interstate or some shit, you can get a ticket for that shit. So I mean, I don't know how much worse and shit needs to get than it is right now. So I've never seen it before ever like this in my life. I've never heard of my parents really talk about it being on time like it is like this. So
it's definitely a numbers thing too. You know, we never had so many people, and with the ease of things like this, to have the ability to be a wildfire as it can, it would be different. Where I live right now, my grandparents lived around the corner, and they picked out of a book a house they wanted to have built in that area because everything that used to be around here was either on one side of the street, Orange Grove, or on the other side, which is over here, it was just a couple of oil rigs. That's what was around. Well, now, these homes are going for anywhere from 3/4 to 1.5. You know what I mean? And that's the difference. Is look at all the bodies. All you need is to have anything with one infection, and boom, everything's got it.
True.
And that kind of goes along with a lot of things. It goes along with laws. It goes along with, just everything as far as how much food you can produce or how much waste you start producing. Because if you have one rat or 10 rats in a small cage, you're fine. As soon as you throw 1,000 in there, that's when you need all these things to be implemented, because things start getting chaotic easily. And it only takes one individual to fuck it up.
Well, yeah, and then the even crazier thing with this whole, I mean, there's a lot of shit that people really aren't looking at. Like, number one, yeah, we're dealing with this shit on a level and whatever, but what if it mutates again and shit before we even...
It has.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So now you're talking... So you can never catch back up with it. It's like basically like a flu that's out of control.
And that's why one of the best analogies is, if you think of all my fingertips as being heads of matches, as long as you go ahead and remove one, you stop it. And that's the idea of the social distancing. As long as we are trying to remove ourselves from large groups and not trying to pass it on as fast as it can spread, it can easily die out in a certain amount of time, especially if the weather starts to warm up in this area, and we start just taking care of ourselves. It can go away. We shall see too. I hope so, because like many, I need the work.
I mean, I think that the biggest learning lesson from shit like this is that we as a society in general need to readjust our priorities, maybe when it comes to things like medical care. Like, here's a good example, all right? It doesn't matter how much we do this social distancing shit and these travel bans and shit. You have a homeless population, for example, that's millions of people strong that live across the United States, right? So now you have these pockets of people who are going to continue to carry this shit. They're not going to be somewhere. They're not going to be...
Well, actually, in my area, they're addressing that. Luckily, what they're doing, LA has a huge homeless populace. Down at the beach area, there's areas that people camp out at, and what they're utilizing that area now is they're building these homeless medical shelters. So they're bringing people in, they're taking care of them, feeding them, treating them, checking in to see if they have the symptoms, and they're giving these people homes right now.
That's very important.
Up a couple of miles of the beach down here in the El Segundo, where they consider that Dockweiler Beach, State Beach area. you know, and it's pretty cool. So they are addressing that too, luckily.
Yeah, we need to be doing that like nationwide. To me, that's the most important way to stop the infection, because no matter how hard we stop it in people who would have the means to like be cleanly and also go to the doctor and shit, you have a whole population of people that both can't afford to go to the doctor, and their standard of living prohibits them from being maybe having the best hygiene. So like, and I'm not saying that as a knock. I'm saying that as like that's a fact of their daily existence, that like they don't have access to certain things. So but even back in the day, that was how most of that stuff was transmitted, was through like waste and like shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
So
hey, man.
Hopefully, man.
Hey, man, you been reading anything lately? What have you been reading to take your mind off life?
Man, I've been so busy fucking getting back from C2E2. My kid got sick, so I was that's why I haven't been dropping no content. Because he got sick, and I was kind of worried about the whole fucking bullshit. So we've been dealing with that. And I should be back making content though this next week. I actually have some ideas, man. The one challenge thing that I was going to come up with for doing like where we'd have face-offs about who could invest their money the wisest. So that'll be coming out like next week. I have the schedule for that. I also have idea. Yeah, so I'll basically, how it'll work is like this. I mean, I'll give you guys a quick preview right now since I'm really not doing nothing. So how it'll work is you'll get like a little virtual set of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll be able to like go onto Go Collect, right, and use that virtual money to buy like a set of books that'll be in your collection. And then like every so often I'll do an update, and we'll say like who's in the lead based on, we all started with like $1,000 virtual money or whatever.
Sure.
But now shit, and then there'll be a prize, you get what I'm saying, at the end. So that's how it'll work basically for the people in the chat. If you guys are interested.
Like a fantasy comic book thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like fantasy football, but like with comic books.
Mm-hmm. That's fucking awesome.
So yeah, think of it like fantasy football, but with comic books. So yeah.
Well, yeah, keep everyone posted. Definitely keep me posted. I'm interested about that.
Yeah, so that's one of the interesting things I've been cooking up, because I've been trying to look for like a good way to like structure that show. So at first I was gonna have people do it with like real money, but then I was like, not everybody has the money to like go out and like do that kind of shit. So I was like, what's better than that than to give everyone like some virtual currency, allow them, we all can use, like, I'll probably use Go Collect. So it'll have to be a book that's already been out, has like an FMV, shit like that.
But you know what? I got an idea for you. There still has to be a buy-in, and the buy-in everyone already has. You don't have to have money.
Well,
you just have to have at least a book or a series of books that come up with a certain value that you decide to be the buy-in, meaning $10 or $15 or $20.
If I did it like that, I would probably just do
that way. If you have a series of winners, runners up, or whatever, everyone that decides to play, they just send their books right over to whoever that winner or runner up and all that other shit is. So that, they just get a mass of books.
Yeah,
and they have to open it on your show.
I'm open. Hey, I'm open for stuff like that. So I mean, there's a lot of cool ways that we can do the prize structure. So, and I'm sure, but when people win and shit, like they'll come up with, be like, hey, come up with their own challenge to be like, hey, if you want to beat me, I'm the champion. So if you beat me, I'll give away a slab or some shit. So, shit like that. But yeah, that's one of the things I'll be working on.
I love it.
The other thing is I'm gonna try to get back with Dylan and shit and adjust around his schedule. I like to make normal like schedule every day for the same time for my shows. But if not, still want to do Terror Tuesday with Dylan, and then my last show will probably be Night Nerdy again. But with the priorities of what everything that's been going on, then that's kind of been pushed back to the back burner right now. So, what about you, man? What about your guys'? Are you guys still doing your
Theater?
Yeah, your theater.
I was supposed to work a 16-day run, averaging 14 hours a day, doing 2 different shows. One being Electronic Sports League, which is one of those tournament competition things with video games, and what the fuck was iHeartRadio. Oh yeah, I was supposed to call that up. Anyways, which I assume is going to be gone too. My point being is, we put everything on hold, and now that looks like everything's on hold. I'm trying to put that together. Right now, we are considering doing Derek Hunter's Pretty Violent. I think either this week or next week. His 6th series issue arc comes out and trade paperback. So we were thinking about doing that. I added up all the characters. I was going through everything, and it turns out to be that there's only, I don't know, like 7 main characters, but there's 45 characters in the first 3 books. It seems like a lot. So I threw it already at my brother and his wife, and we've been going over it, and we're possibly thinking about doing that today, actually. But we're thinking maybe next week.
Hey, now's the time, for us to organize and get some cool shit going on in the community, because we got nothing but time. And instead of letting it be like the devil's playground, we could put it to productive use and positive use. So, that's one of the things. I don't know. I'm not sure if the chat has heard yet, but we're scheduling like a kind of 24/7 virtual Comic-Con. Is going to be launching on Economics and Comics on Billy's channel next Friday, and it's going to go the whole weekend, 24/7. There's going to be someone up chit-chatting, hanging out, talking comics, getting rid of books are going to be flying around left and right all day. So if any of you guys that are interested in being part of that, or being maybe an exhibitor, or you don't have to come to sell, that's one of the key points I want to stress about this whole event that we have coming up. A lot of times you see a lot of the people, it's just about selling. So if you want to come on and just show some cool books that you got, or some of your grills that you managed to get your hands on, or even just to come on and talk about some of the grills that you're looking for or stuff like that, then feel free to reach out and hit me up on Instagram, or drop a comment on one of my videos, or hit me up via email. So
cool. Yeah, I was fortunate enough to notice that my LCS contacted me, a couple of them actually, and said, "Hey, look, we're going to decide we're going to shut down on this day, or we just got the call from Diane to go ahead and release some of these books." So I was fortunate enough to go down there and grab mine early, on my Tuesday. And being that I was laid off, I was like, fuck it, I'm going down there to pick up my books. So I've had more than enough time to read, got to go through, organize, bought some more bags and boards, stuffed those things, cleaned the garage a little bit, went through the whole house, disinfected shit. I just doing, I think, what most people are doing right now. You know what I mean? The cool thing is, been able to catch up on some reading. But, I was kind of hoping to do that at work.
Yeah, man.
But, it is what it is. Now it's a matter of trying to keep Kai, on his homework and doing schoolwork.
Yeah.
My son and daughter, they belong to a chartered school system in which that pioneered all these chartered schools that go through the nation.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're familiar with working at home, and they know how to play the game of doing enough work to make it and skate and having it done. And then the teacher walk away and they're done, meaning virtually. And then knowing that they don't have to do anything or even prep themselves. So they'll go ahead and have everything prepped. So when the next thing comes up, it's already even started.
Hey, I'm the type of kid. I'm the type of kid in school that I was in gifted and talented and all that shit. And even up to college level, I rarely opened my books, or I use them for maybe to do homework and shit. But like, I'm not the type of person that has to like read a book constantly or some shit to like grasp a concept or some shit. So to me, books are like shit just people carry around. Like you read them a couple times, or the key points, or like the shit that is the meat of what you're looking for, and then the rest of it's kind of just noise. So hey, John would probably be upset I said that because he's the teacher. So me and teachers didn't have the best relationship going up through school.
What do I do?
Well, because
I
was the type of student like you're saying that usually by the end of class I'd be done with my homework. So like I'd be goofing off and shit, like probably near the last couple minutes of class or like whatever because I'd be fucking bored. So teachers would hate that shit, or I'd always like one of my like specialties, you get what I'm saying, growing up was like I'd sit there like when I met a teacher, I'd be like, okay, what's outside this person's wheelhouse, right? And then I'd formulate a question, right, that I knew that they couldn't answer, that was like in whatever their specialty. So like if there was a science teacher, I'd ask him a science question. So like because how teachers a lot of time will like try to belittle students and make them feel like stupid and shit. So like anytime I'm encountered teachers like that, I would basically ask them shit like in front of the class that would like they'd be like couldn't answer.
just got a golden apple update, and damn. All right, so this is the 1 in 25 Batman 93 designer variant.
That's pretty dope.
That does look pretty good. A buddy of mine sent this, but I wasn't certain if they were going to utilize this. And it looks like they are.
Dude, Natalie Sanders, dude, she has a Catwoman fucking 80th anniversary coming out. It's pretty fucking sick, dude. I'm liking her work, dude.
And then here's the scan.
By the way, guys, you can get that shit at KRS Comics. I suggest picking that shit up, dude. The one that it looks kind of like, it looked like a magazine cover. It looked like kind of like one of them Vogue girls covers, because if it does anything like the Harley one did, that shit sold out pretty fucking fast. So
yeah, they're already asking $40 for this 1 in 25 of the designer. Golden Apple. You can actually pick it up as a trade, Virgin. And they already have CGC offerings on it.
I'm interested because I haven't really been on any talk shows since this whole shit's been rolling out. So what's your take on the whole punchline thing? Are you buying in? Did you get hella like what key issues are you?
Well, because
are you looking out for?
I've befriended so many LCSs. When they even believe that something is hot, or they decide that they're going to go ahead and after they fill their box orders that they're going to start marking things up, I usually get offered these things at cover price. So I was never reading the series, but I've been offered all these keys. So I have presently 86. What is that? 89, 90. I have Hell Arisen 3. I have all this stuff. I'm all about developing decent, solid characters. But if it's another one of these, what was fucking that one chick? I own me. You know what I mean? If it turns out to be another one of these things that they underutilize and it's a weak character and it really doesn't play well in the whole universe thing, then
did you read it yet? Are you liking her the way they're introducing her, or like or do you
yes, so far in this point, from what I've been reading and what I'm educated on as far as the character, I somewhat like this character. If it turns out to be what I believe it is, which was what that one kid, that one boy that was so obsessed with Bruce Wayne that I think it was first introduced in 48, but in 52 goes whack nut and just sees all these scratches across the face. And Naomi, thank you very much, Chris.
Yeah.
And this is what drove that kid to go whack nut, become recluse, turn a whole new identity and turn into the punchline. That I like. If it's really that fucking mind fucking warp, I'd really dig that, because I'm all about the whole cerebral type of writing anyways. And if they take this to that twisted of a dark place to where you're getting into where they're actually changing genders to go ahead and as some type of sick joke in the back end. Oh, hell yeah, I'm in. No, I think that's cool.
So what about you guys in the chat? What do you think about Punchline? Are you guys fully in? Do you guys have any problems with her character? Are you guys buying into all the hype? And do you think she has long-term staying power, or do you think this is like a let me think of another character that I'm trying to think of another example that didn't do well. There was an introduction of a character.
Because what we end up seeing sometimes that, these introductions to some of these characters, as in like last year was a high introduction of a high amount of characters. 2019 introduced a lot of shit.
Oh, Crush.
And reintroduced a lot of stuff.
Crush is the character that I feel Punchline has the potential to be. So like Crush had all that hype behind it, and now it's like kind of like, who's really talking about Crush now?
I agree with Chris on this, that Punchline is a wait and see at this point. You know what I mean? I think by the time we get to, I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it was like 96 or 97 that a bunch of stuff is supposed to be revealed, in accordance to a buddy of mine that was telling me some shit. I'm trying to get a couple of buddies on this show that I always get a bunch of info on. Anyways, if it turns out the way that he was telling me it's supposed to be, then this character will turn out to be a decent one for some time to come. And like Chris says, it's still a little early to say, and it's a wait and see. And I think after another few months, you know what I mean, because that's what we're talking about when we're deep into summer, and the way this possibly it might get into this whole was that death metal thing that's supposed to happen, and if that does twist into there and they turn this character into some hardcore thing, that may be great too,
So what's your favorite character of the new dark direction that DC's taking?
You know what? I saw some of the earlier stuff, and I remember some of the earlier stuff that was being projected on what's supposedly being introduced. What is that, in a month and a half? Mm-hmm. Which is the 3 Jokers. Mm-hmm. That looks awesome. And then I'm waiting for the Smile Killer. I'm hoping they turn this whole Joker Smiles.
What about the Clown Killer or whatever that's supposedly coming?
That I'm hoping that turns into something after, because I think they got a little on the Black Label. I think they got a little more success on that Joker Smiles thing than I think they originally anticipated, as far as an ongoing story, not sales. I think there's some cultish people like myself that thought the story was pretty cool.
Dude, I want them to come out with some kind of like cult of Jokers, meaning because he dies, like hopefully, like what I would do is in this whole, when they talk about Batman and Joker having like their last fight and shit, you get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The Batman kills Joker, and fucking basically like a faction of Jokers rise up in his name.
Yeah, and that's what the whole 3 Jokers, I believe.
Yeah, like a religion, basically.
He ends up finding out that there isn't one, there was 3.
Yeah, but then like I'm saying, I'm saying that they basically take it like the people see Joker, that like basically all your anti-heroes see Joker as like this martyr of everything that's like hypocritical with heroes and shit like that, because Batman actually breaks his code, right? Which was never to kill, and he kills fucking Joker. You understand what I'm saying? So like, right. It becomes like the ultimate fucking hypocrisy. So like that's how you could literally have like a faction or like fanatics that would like basically look at Joker like a martyr. So then you would start having like criminals who were like trying to live in Joker's name, basically.
Right. No, I can totally get where you're coming from.
And that would be way more interesting. I mean, they basically say in the book that one of them dies in this book. So we know I'm very highly possible that it's not Batman. They're not going to kill Batman. If they had to choose between killing Batman and Joker right now, I think they're going to kill Joker. And that would like literally send his shit to the stratosphere. His popularity. Like how most
I was there when they did the whole Superman Death of Superman thing, and yeah, that sold a lot. I was also there in the whole Bane breaking Batman's back. That sold a lot. You know what I mean? And I could actually see what you're saying, being that they saw the results of when they got rid of Alfred. You know what I mean? That sent ripples through the.
I mean, think about it. What's your whole the three Jokers concept? So now, like, it's not like with most characters when they die, they're like, well, they resurrect them like later. They'll just say right away that now you never know which one of these Jokers was the actual mastermind,
right,
or whatever.
That's the idea. That was my understanding of how they're supposed to be doing this whole three Jokers thing. And there's already been some solicitations that kind of hint to what you just said. However, there's nothing that I've seen nothing solid.
Nothing concrete yet.
Yeah, not that I've seen. That doesn't mean it ain't out there. I in full, transparency, I'm not a massive DC. My son's the one that he likes all the dark stuff. You know what I mean? So
chaos.
And he's the one that gets me to get it.
Chaos in this way. When they kill Joker, he's gonna be killed in a way that that there's no way that he isn't dead. There's gonna be some kind of reveal or something.
Because by saying that there's three, they can actually get rid of one, and like you're saying, it's like, okay, yeah, one did die.
Well, what I'm saying is, let's say that they're already, like, when they introduced the three Jokers, that we're already farther along the storyline than we think. So playing into what Chaos said, that all these deaths of these Jokers, what if they've all been like cloned and like body doubles and shit, and they haven't even been the actual fucking Joker, and that the whole secret is that there's this, like, kind of like Resident Evil, how there's all them Alice.
Well, actually, to give further validation to your theory, we could actually tie that in to say, if people were to say, "Oh, that's all bullshit." Well, no, because we are just speculating, right?
Yeah.
We could easily interject by saying this is all plotted by someone even above the Joker, which is who's the ultimate design individual that supposedly is the mastermind behind all this. An individual that's supposed to have been seated way back when, but no one ever talked about him because he's been pulling strings all this time. Supposedly, it's this new character has been around for a while, and this designer has been the mastermind behind all this, which kind of makes sense if you're saying that he may have gave Joker, the original Joker, information to say, hey, look, you don't need that be at the forefront of your own shit. You can send these little fucking pawns to play your game, and you can have your own game in front of you.
Yeah, we can clone you. We can send out like these body doubles that no one really knows who. If it's you, you can use them to create chaos and shit. You know what I'm saying? They're like agents of chaos and shit. So like fucking.
I can see it. I can easily see that, especially with this new writer, because the new writer can actually see things like that and go that far down the distance and write that stuff in. It just goes to show you, when you turn, what is that, issue 86, and you go ahead and you give it, a whole new staff. Sometimes it can turn a whole story around.
I mean, I'm still in the wait and see thing too, because there's a lot of worrisome signals in the market as far as like book availability and shit like that I'm seeing, that kind of makes me hesitant on what's going on with her, because I'm like, this is either, even if she does have staying power, they're flooding the market with like everything. I mean, they're even flooding the market with like the Argerm variant.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're selling that right now, CGC graded for like $40.
Really?
Yeah, so like if they're selling a graded 9.8 for that much, by the time that book drops, it'll be around that amount. But then that's telling, if they can sell a graded book for that cheap, that's telling you that how many the people who have these, how many they have.
Mm-hmm.
So like whenever the price stays high, you know that the book availability is lower because they're trying to maximize their dollar per book. But whenever you see
Sure.
low upfront, like kind of like salesy prices on especially graded books, you know that there's literally a fuck ton of them. So like, and then you got two problems. So like the two problems I see is number one, the art germ variant is completely flooded. So like if you're buying this book to speculate, please do not buy the art germ like the night like the her punchline variant. Do not buy that book. You thank me later. I promise that book is being overproduced right now. Um, the other kind of rat trap I see is the 1 in 25 variant because you're going to have everyone who's going to be like, you're going to have your people who are think that they're in the know and they're kind of like your smarter collector who are going to be thinking just like what I said, who are going to be like, well, they're going to kind of see that how many of these art germ variants that there are, and they're going to be like, well, I need to get like a more exclusive variant. So they'll go for the 1 in 25 thinking, hey, this
Right.
was whole value, but it's a 1 in 25 is still that, meaning it could still be overproduced. So your best bet if you're going to buy this for in like investment purposes, in my opinion, and you don't want to be in like X-Men 1 territory or one of those situations as far as book availability, is that you want to buy the most exclusive variant for
Sorry.
any of these books, like for 92, for Hella Risen, for any of these books that you can. So buy low print runs, buy books that they're only like maybe hundreds of. You know that they're limited to X amount of 100 because that book is not only going to be key, but it's going to hold value due to rarity. So like, it doesn't matter if the book's key, if there's a million of them, if there's like 100,000, 300,000. Look at Absolute Carnage. Absolute Carnage is an awesome read. Danny Cates knocked it out of the park with that. It was well worth, but look how overprinted it was that now it's hard to sell an Absolute Carnage for like half the price of what its cover price is. Because
Yeah.
like I'm saying, the availability is so high that you can't even get cover price for the book, for a good book, for a good character, for a popular character. So think about that. That's my little soapbox shit.
Yeah, no, it makes sense, especially if someone is, quote unquote speculating on their buy with their buys. You got to make them solid, and if a person's not educated enough, it's easy to overspend on things that thinking that you're actually making a smart buy when all you're doing is just kind of feeding the machine.
Yeah. So, I mean, Chaos says if you're buying any new books for investment purposes, you're stupid. I don't really believe that. I believe that a smart, quote unquote, speculator, I know it's a dirty word and shit, whatever, in the comic book community, but a person that is doing that type of thing is just like stocks or anything, that you got to look at each book for a different investment purpose. So, like, I believe that the older a book is, the more a long-term hold it is, and that the newer a book is, the more it's like a quick flip. So, like, if you're looking, I can't see. Some of that shit's getting blocked out on StreamYard. I'm only on StreamYard, not YouTube. Sorry. casting. I don't know what those words are that are missing. It says if you're buying new books for investment purposes, you are in a blank.
Yeah, I guess he's just assuming that you'll fill it in yourself.
Oh, I think that it depends. If you're just buying them because you're following fucking like top lists and shit, you should be doing your own research. Is my caveat to that. Anyone who is basically buying after, because then you're buying into the curve. So like when you're buying off of like these top lists that you see, I'm not going to mention any names that you see.
Sure, I know what you mean.
Around the community.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have a few issues with that. Number one, every person that has watched that video now has the same information. So now,
Sure.
So it's not like you did this research and found it before someone else, and we're like, it's kind of like being the last person to like a gold discovery or some shit. Like, okay, you know there's gold in the area, but if you're like the 100th person to show up to try to dig for gold, well, I highly doubt there's gonna be any left by the time you get there. So it's like the availability, like the time when the information is very important. So doing your own research and knowing these things, if you're good at doing your research, you'll find that a lot of the times that the books that you'll put on your list to be looking for will be on these top lists. And that's how you start getting your validation through, hey, am I doing my research properly? Like, don't go out there and waste your money right away. Like, try to predict the market first and see if you can predict some of the shit that's going to be like on the top lists. And then once you get good enough to do that, well, then shit, you can start talking with your money. Like,
right.
That's kind of why I want to do this thing too with this whole fantasy comic collecting thing, because it'll give people a way to like risk-free kind of get into the idea of playing with money and looking at it as like a strictly investment thing and not looking at it at all from the
entertainment standpoint.
So getting good at just making good deals on comic books and knowing what to look out for, so that you can, if you want to, generate an income through your availability to find books and have access to certain things. You know what I'm saying? Because there's gonna be times you're gonna be walking through a comic book store where, hey, someone might have missed this $100 comic book that you just happen to find because you just are been good now at eyeballing what is going to be popular or shit like that. Because it becomes like anything. Like, with more experience, the better you get at it. So
sure, that's true. You know, I do admit that. I mean, none of us really got into this because we want to be millionaires. Because I mean, that's not going to happen. But if we can obviously offset our costs of what it's going to be, we know the eventuality that what our desires of we want to read or we decide to choose to collect is going to cost a certain amount. So if we can offset that by making, how should we say,
now,
investment style, purchases to then flip those to offset that cost. I get that.
Well, now it's like, since I'm doing YouTube full time, my thing is with the way I collect now is that I'm more trying to be like a comic curator. So like my long-term dream is to be like how you have like fashion consultants. I'd be like a comic consultant for people who don't want to spend the time to like look for hard to find books or like rare books or, or they just want someone to be on the lookout for X, Y, and Z for them, like for Venom books, for shit like that. So it's like
almost like a broker.
Yeah. And I'd be on the lookout for you for certain stuff. And like I'm saying, if you're like, hey man, I want to advise someone like what's good to read in indie, or like what's good to read in horror, or like, stuff like that. So a lot of people, especially newer people who are coming in, like that's what makes it hard to enter into our hobby, is that there's so much. Like when you go pick one particular comic book up off like the shelf, that's why most people don't do it who already don't read or aren't into collecting, because it's like, where are you at in the story? Now, like, how many comic books do I have to buy to catch up on that?
Sure, it's a little intimidating at times if
And
you
like,
never.
how do I know where to start?
Right.
Where's the first book that I should grab if I'm into like X, Y, and Z character? So like, let's say I'm into Black Panther. Well, what's the very first book that I should read? Maybe it's not always their first appearance. You know what I'm saying? Because that might be not be the book that's like says the most about who they are. Might not be their best book. So like I'm saying, it's basically being a consultant for people, and even people who are like veteran collectors. Like, I'd love to be able to have someone that was like, hey man, any, if you're gonna be going to these that and whatever convention, hey, I'll throw you a little budget or something. Grab me this, that, and the other. Like, I know you're gonna know my taste. I know you're gonna know what's hot to grab while you're there. So if I can give you a little budget to grab me some stuff while you're there, then shit, here's a little budget to go with to grab me something. So like, just shit like that, dude. Like I'm saying, it's like being a fashion consultant. Like, every grown person can dress herself. I mean, I would assume most of us feel like that we have at least a basic sense of style, right?
Yeah. Well, no, it makes sense, especially if someone is new to it. And I've come across this before. They don't know what to start with. I recently did a video with Kai and with my daughter and her boyfriend, where I have just recently introduced him to books. So I was evaluating who and how he was, and I just worked from there on.
Well, like,
And
one of the questions to ask people. So like,
so essentially, what you're stating that you want to do is, I totally get it, because that's kind of what I did. Is I curated something that was custom for him, thinking about who and how he was.
that's kind of like the way that I make my boxes and stuff. So like, when people are like, hey, I want one of your boxes or something, and I'm like, all right, well, what do you read? Do you read like Marvel? Do you read like Image? Like, what are you into? And then like, basically I'll send them all of that. So like, Patrick Kelly, he gets boxes from me a lot of the time. I'll send him all indie. So every book he gets from me is an indie. It's usually a number one. I'm not just going to send you a bunch of random. It's 99% of the time a number one, unless I'm like in between sorting and inventory and shit. And uh, yeah, because like I try to build that stuff like if I was getting it, and if I was getting it and I was the person that was like brand new to collecting, so that it works either way. And if you're brand new to collecting, the worst thing is just getting a box of random books that a bunch of random stories aren't the start of anything. You don't know where you're going. I figure always giving people number ones, you're kind of giving them a good place to start to see, hey, do I like this? Do I like where this is going?
Yeah, no, it makes total sense.
They haven't
Yeah,
made a huge investment. Like, one of my biggest, as a veteran collector, one of my biggest things about like new comic books and shit is investing in runs. So like, what puts me off to buying books now is, all right, the investment thing. So knowing like, when a run starts, how many of those books am I gonna have to buy now?
I look at that. I always look at that. Recently I was talking to some guy, with a guy who writes the book Sweetheart. I was talking and I said, hey, look, so how many issues are you going to put out to cover this arc? And he said, oh, it's 5. I said, so you're telling me it's going to cost me $20 to read your story? He said, well, yeah, if you look at it that way. I go, I'm done. I'm in. I'll have it on the pull, because I made the calculation of what you're saying. What is it going to cost me to go ahead and put together the ability to read a particular story? You know what I mean? So, and that's how I'm looking at things.
That's why people always like down talk one shots and shit, man. But I think one shots have their place, and they're getting more and more valuable now in this whole.
I dig one shots.
I love one shots, dude. Like, to me, my core collection, what I'm trying to get down to is keys, super rare exclusives of either keys or just books that I love. Like, I just gotta have, just due to just whatever the reason is, and in one shots, especially the more modern they are, because like a lot of your good books, dude, are one shots now. So like, especially indies, because
Yeah, there are a few that are just just good books. And like you're saying, one shots, like especially if they're, which we're seeing every once in a while, if they're good, well written, and they're square bound, you get a 72, 100 page, something like that.
Yeah,
I don't mind spending the 5, 6, $7 for something like that.
me neither, man. That's what I'm saying, because you're all in. They have the capability to do a follow up if they want and just call it whatever, some kind of sequel or whatever. It's the same thing that they do with 100 issue runs or whatever. It's like, but I know what I'm getting into right up front, and I'm like, not like, hey, is this going to go for 100 issues? Is it going to go on for 300 issues? Is it going to be like 1,000 run? Like, how far are we going with this?
That, and if you take some of these thicker books and you divide it up into, let's say, 3-4 issues of non pulled out taffied stories, right? Sometimes they're just stretched to death. Well, you're getting that. So instead of spending anywhere from 16 to $32 to get the same story that's been pulled longer than it needed to be to go ahead and sell copies, you get it in your one shot, and that's what I like.
What do you guys think in the chat? Like, how do you guys feel about one shots, and how are you guys collecting now? I mean, what about you? What's your goals in collecting this year?
My son and I, we both said last year when we were first starting up that we believed that it was a season instead of an ongoing. So a season of indies, and now I'm seeing, what is that, with AWA Upshot type thing that's out, and that all these. It reminds me of when I was younger, and I'm not saying this is a bad omen. I'm saying this is a good one. When I was younger and I got back into it for the second time, this is my third time getting into it. Valiant was coming in, Defiant was coming in, Image had just came in, Malibu was being strong. There were so many of these newer companies just coming out, and I was digging it. I like the fact that they were putting pressure on Marvel, DC, and the things of Norm. You know what I mean?
Hey, I can tell you one new indie to go pick up. It is Archangel 8 #1.
Yeah, it's from that company I'm talking about, that AWA. Yeah.
Oh fuck yeah, dude! That shit is fucking lit.
Yeah, they're this was their launch week. I think they would have did better. They had certain strategic signing events with certain books placed around the nation. The guy who writes Resistance was supposed to do a signing event here, not too far from me. As everyone knows, everything got canceled. But yeah, this was going to be their big launching time. This was going to be their way of stamping themselves on the map, and that kind of got squashed because of our present situation. But I did get to see what they're putting out as far as content. I did get to see or hear and see what their direction is as far as overall. And yeah, and again, it takes me back to when Image first started, and these companies that were allowing these people to go ahead and take hold of their own product and do what they want. And this is cool. This is really cool. This is good for the industry, I believe. And I do believe that indies are going to be the way to go. As I was talking to Dylan Gilbertson, like I said, he's the guy who does that book, Sweetheart. The way I look at a lot of these indies is the way I look at anything else that's on this level. And I mean by that is any other form of art. So I like playing music, and I look at it from the same standpoint as when you hear certain bands that are just making their stamp or just making their place known in the industry, you always get that rawness of who they are and how they are before they get polished and release their second or third album. And that's the way a lot of these indies are, is you're getting these people in their raw state of form, and they're giving you their blood, their sweat, and their tears to put out a decent story. And I like that.
Yeah, man, I am loving indies. So it's one of the things you heard me say repeatedly, like on my own channel, that I think like Marvel and DC have seen their heyday, and that the further you go back, the more relevant they are, and the more you get modern, the more the indies replace Marvel and DC as relevant. And Yeah, I stand behind that statement.
Yeah, I mean, right now I just opened up the Storefolio, and there's nothing here from the big two yet. Let's see what else I got here. There's another one. And these weren't placed. This is just coincidence that I'm pulling these things out, and not one of them that you've seen so far is, yeah, from what else did I get? This. These last three that you saw, I got these things free. That my LCS just kicked me down and said, "Hey, just tell us what you think." So that's just some. I mean, and this whole right here is full, and it's also I doubt there's many Marvel or anything in there. But yeah, I'm the same, man. I'm reading a lot more indie. Other than I am a big Symbiote fan.
Oh yeah, I just got a sick. I'm gonna be posting. Hold on, I could probably pull it up on my Instagram. Wait, let's see if you can see it.
This was an awesome story. But I'm a fan. But again, look how much indie shit I'm pulling out. Oh yeah, this was fun. This keeps getting better and better. White Ash.
Hold on a second. I'm about to see if I can.
So is Alienated. Alienated is getting good too. Yeah, in there that was only one Marvel out of all the 12 books I think I have in here.
Let's see if I can share my screen.
All right.
Oh, here it is. Yeah. This is. You see it? Can you see this? You can't see the screen. Oh, you gotta hit the.
Oh wait.
There you go.
Yeah, you hit a separate thing here. There you go.
I got this. I just got that sketch earlier today.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah, I told the dude to do me a Venom on the Amazing Fit, but with like the homage cover to.
Yeah. For 15? Yeah. That's fucking cool.
Oh yeah.
I love black covers for that very reason. I love the black ones in particular, so whenever I see a black cover, I have to get it. But yeah, so I can get sketches done. I love custom art.
Yeah, I got like 3 more I'm getting done. I got Dark Avengers. I want to get done number 1. So I'm trying to look for someone to do that. That's going to be like probably the best person I can find is going to be the person that does that one. Because I think that Dark Avengers is kind of where they're going with I don't know. People would think I'm crazy if they heard my my take on speculation of on what's going on in the MCU. So
I think I'd like to actually see more utilization of Ghost Rider. I think that the characters that are in Ghost Rider are underutilized, but
I mean that's the movie I'm the most excited for going forward is the Doctor Strange movie and the whole Midnight Suns and the Blade, Doctor Strange and Ghost Rider shit.
Yeah, Venom can even make an appearance in there.
I'm hoping that they do that shit justice, and that'll kind of take over for me for Deadpool for like the adult shit in the MCU. So
right, yeah, no, that would be awesome. I can easily see that.
Because I mean, I love me an Avengers movie. I mean, I love Black Panther. I love Winter Soldier. I love all those movies, but to me, they're still just not adults enough for me. I feel like that there's something missing for us, like as an adult in those movies. But
sure.
That's just me. And that's kind of where the biggest misstep, I think, with DC, what they're doing right now is that there's basically like, they're missing their mark, dude. Like, they know that right now that Disney and Marvel can't touch like adult and dark content. So like, their studio should basically just be all black label shit. Just should be all dark, fucking adult, gritty, like not for kids shit.
Right. And they may have to actually look in that, as far as the demographic is concerned.
And they can just take over that niche of media. Like they don't got to take over. they're never going to come at Marvel and beat Marvel at Marvel's own game, which especially with Disney, which is the popcorn shit, like the shit that everybody's going to want to is going to be like mass marketed.
Right.
Like we're saying with indies, there's a spot for niche, especially with our kind of hobby. Like there's more than enough room. Look at how well like Joker is evidence of this shit. That movie is the hunger that we've been talking about. I've been saying on YouTube since I started this channel, dude, that that's what we as adults are looking for. Like we're hungry for. Look, that's why Brightburn did okay. You know what I'm saying? Because people want like where the hero is not always they want some villain shit. They want some dark shit. They want some like chaotic shit. They want some shit where they don't know who, like, with a lot of these superhero films, I feel like you know who's going to win. You know that certain people aren't going to die. You know, like, so, I mean, it takes some of the rawness of the movie out. I think that's why the future of comic book movies are going to be indies and kind of these one-shots. That's why you see a lot of shit getting optioned, because there's something to be said for having that self-contained story and keeping people on the edge of their seat.
Right.
Like,
especially if, like you're saying, if it's a relatively unknown character or story, that keeps people off the base of knowing what, certain expectations of what's either going to happen or, Batman ain't going to die.
Like you go watch a Batman movie. What's the chances of Batman dying at the end or dying anywhere in the movie?
Right. Whereas, if it's a character that we are not familiar with or a storyline that we're not familiar with, at least, the interest is going to be there, knowing that it is based off of what most people were being told or heard is a comic book story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, really comic? Okay, let's go check it out. I have no idea what's going on, but this is cool. It's type, yes.
So I kind of think that that's where DC is missing their mark, is that they're trying to. First, they're not being consistent. I mean, let's talk about the.
Well, what they can do is essentially what you're saying is, consider be a little derivative by saying, what we're going to do is create, the black label as a labeled market for film also, and then allow it to be headed by someone like a Hill and say, look, this is your own thing, and make sure that it just meets the criteria of what we consider our black label shit. Which, okay. We all know what that really means. It's going to be dark and heavy.
True.
And that would be a little simplified way of doing it. But this is easy for us to conjure up, and it does make sense because the demographic has shown that when you come out with these R-rated movies and you make them, because they are starting to just slowly keep pushing the envelope a little farther and a little farther. And even with Joker, they got a lot of backlash socially wise. A lot of people.
Yeah, but that shit did so gangbusters.
I'm there with you. I'm totally. You're definitely preaching to the choir here. I loved it, and I think there should be more things like it.
It's the reason why Deadpool always goes fucking bananas, dude. Because you have an adult population, an adult demographic, which is, we all know that the average collector, that the majority of collectors now are older collectors. There are certain different demographic. We don't want what we wanted as kids. It's nice to have that as nostalgia for the nostalgic purposes.
Sure.
But we want something that engages us as an adult, meaning our sensibilities, our sense of values, our perspective on the world. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it has to touch.
Because it does come across condescending when we know what it really is marketing, but that doesn't mean that we're still not at times insulted.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And I agree, because that's not how it's conveyed to us when we read it in our books, and we get their reasoning and what they're trying to do. But at the same point, for the individuals who gave them the original success, meaning like individuals like yourself, the original readers of this type of stuff, it comes across as kind of insulting. It's like, hey, wait a minute. This is not what we read, or this is not what we intended to see. But like you also say, is the beauty about indies and the rawness of what is being written or depicted, in the art that's given to us, or the ones that we choose to buy and indulge in. It doesn't matter if it's a Red Sonja or if it's something as sweet as Canto. It's a matter of, is it still being conveyed the way we want when it goes past the medium that we're come accustomed to getting it, which is, can it be conveyed onto a film or Netflix or whatever the same way, and not insult us as the ones who, kind of gave them their ability to do so.
Yeah, it makes complete sense, man. So people might think I'm crazy, but I just think that there's a huge missed opportunity there where they could basically just corner the market when it comes to the whole adult demographic. So if that was their focus, and they just focused on that, and then hey, you're still going to get kid fans, because of course there's going to be them kids who have parents who are, have a looser sense of morality, or just a filter as far as what they filter their kids from and stuff. I don't think it's really going to do a lot of damage to brands that are strong and successful. Like I keep using Deadpool as an example, or even the Joker. I mean, Joker did well being where a huge amount of the population was not allowed to go see the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, imagine how it would have done had it been slightly toned down and they just eliminated a few cuss words, or whatever, to kind of sanitize it down a little to the point where it got PG-13.
It wasn't even really that hardcore. It just what it did is a psychological aspect. What it did as far as insinuating certain things, or sometimes in certain cases to those in which that it might be a little feeble in the head, invoking certain social things that people have concerns about. We really didn't see it, so it goes back to what you're saying. Because of even that stifling of the ability of the movie to really come out, it still did well. And yeah, I agree. I think I don't think it really needed to tone itself down. I think it was fine. I only think those in which that were insulted, or those in which I believe didn't get it. Those of which that were concerned were those of which that didn't get it.
Yeah. So what movie are you the most excited about coming up in the MCU?
At first I wasn't really big on the whole Black Widow, but I guess coming up the most recent, I guess Black Widow is now starting to come around to me as seemingly okay. I know the New Mutants got pushed again, because that was starting to look pretty good. New Mutants.
Well, as far as I know, Marvel and Disney have shut down all production. So
yeah,
anything that's still in production is delayed.
Matter of fact, this morning they released that Bloodshot is pretty much going to cease playing in the movies. It's going to go to digital release.
They're going to have to, dude, or it's going to completely fail, because there's nobody. People aren't like Deadshot's, dude, actually a good movie, dude, and people can't even go fucking to the movie theater to see it, and they're calling it like blood flop and shit. And I'm like, dude, it's literally a law where you can't even fucking go to the movie theater. So
right.
How are you gonna?
They never even had a shot.
I mean, I seen a meme that wasn't really funny, dude, but the meme was that Bloodshot and COVID got released at the same time, and that was the downfall of fucking Bloodshot.
Yeah, no, I agree. It never even had a shot to be good or bad. You know what I mean? It never. As far as what little I've heard, my understanding was this: if you went in there with the same expectation as you had with what was that other movie, Birds of Prey, then you'll be walking out going, "That wasn't a bad movie." But if you walk in there with any other expectation that it's supposed to be great, then you may not like it.
Yeah, that is true.
But I from what I heard of people walking in and coming out, and what I heard it seemed cool.
I heard Black Widow was supposed to be going straight to Disney Plus.
Really?
Yeah, I heard that if
Wow.
I heard that if by the summer they haven't like cleared up this shit or whatever, that basically any new productions that are coming out or ones that are in the pipeline or whatever the fuck that are supposed to get released at the movie theater, that they're gonna do some kind of deal where they're gonna be released through Disney Plus, but there's gonna be like they'll probably have to. I don't know. I don't know. They'll probably do some kind of rental thing through Disney Plus, where you'll only be able to rent it if you have Disney Plus, which it'd be smart as fuck for them, to be honest. Because
Yeah, I agree. It would be smart.
not only are you getting the Disney Plus subscription, but then you're getting the fucking access to the movie on top of it, and that could be the future, in my opinion, of a lot of this shit. Which
Well, that's one of the things that they've been talking about because of this. There's been a lot of things. Now to me, I am old school and I like a big screen and I like the big sound and
but
I
shit,
like.
don't when you like to sit on your couch in your pajamas and watch like Black Widow, fucking day one, no line, no $50 million for fucking popcorn and all that shit. Yeah, like you will lose that experience, but like shit, I don't miss. There's a reason why people aren't going to watch movies at the like a lot at the movie theater anymore. It's because it's too fucking expensive. I mean, if you take just you and like one of your kids, like you have a family, like I'm saying, of four.
Yeah, it's me. Yeah, exactly.
Like
I
how
got
it
my
has
wife and the
to
two,
cost
and
you
yeah,
over $100, dude, to go to movies.
sure.
So like, for fuck's sake, dude, you telling me you could rent that shit, even if it was, let's
That's
say,
not to say that there wouldn't be times that it wouldn't be advantageous to go ahead and hang out and do it, but at the same point, I do like being able to take everyone out and sitting at the way in the back, big screen, big sound. You know what I mean? It depends on what it is. With my action stuff, I really want to not only see it, I want to feel it. But I'm also I'm a
so then my answer to that would be to build like smaller, more like more high value like viewing centers, meaning like shit that has like a home like atmosphere, but it's still at the movie theater, but has like premium everything, premium sound,
sure.
premium. Because if you're gonna be paying for premium, then pay for premium.
And that's the thing is, I mean, I other than replacing my stereo system, was just recently failed on me as I've been sitting at home. I have actually a rad system, so that would, I mean, for me, yeah, I could get away with what I have, and it would probably be.
I'm just saying, like I have a
Would
4K.
be there would be some movies, especially if it's a rom-com, I wouldn't mind hanging out on the couch with the wife and yeah, streaming it, as it comes out.
I mean,
Sure.
I have Dolby Atmos and I have fucking OLED and shit. So like, yeah, I can go to the movie theater and get a slightly bigger screen, slightly better sound system, but really, for the privacy of my own home and for the access to like the amenities that I have at my house and for the all that shit, I wouldn't trade it. Like to me, watching shit on my 4K looks better than when I go to the movie theater. Like the color separation, the sharpness, all that shit. So like if I didn't have a 4K TV, maybe. Or if I had like a low quality 4K, I have like an OLED. So like if I had like one of the cheaper ones, maybe. But like if you have a really good OLED, you have like a really good home theater system, then I don't see the point. There's really no point in going to the movies now because it's just overpriced bullshit. Really, you're paying for shit that you could do at home. And like I'm saying, with a lot of the shit, sometimes you get a better experience because you can fine tune everything at your house to the way you like it. Like,
But definitely right now, there's a lot of incentive for people not to want to go out or do anything like that. You know what I mean? There's a lot of incentive of people to do the push that you're saying, which is,
we'll
hey,
see.
if we started streaming this, would you pick it up? And there's people who are saying, well, yeah.
See what Scott said. He's like, I have a big TV. He's like, surround sound. I got snacks, bathroom. I got the pause button.
Yeah.
And you can be in your pajamas. You can't walk around naked or in your pajamas at the movie theater. So like,
Well, you can, but I wouldn't recommend it.
I mean, you can't. You could technically do anything you want. I wouldn't recommend it because you probably your ass will go to jail. But you know, just stuff like that, man, and just being able to, hey, if you smoke or you know, like cigarettes or anything like that, you can
Sure.
you can have a drink when you want. You know, have a smoke when you want. You don't have to worry about someone coming escorting you out and shit, and you know, no shit like that, man. So, like I'm saying, to me, I'm old school too. I do think that there's still something to that whole experience, but I think that experience can be found in other avenues of entertainment, meaning like taking your kids instead of to like the traditional theater nowadays, you take them to like IMAX theater. So like, yeah, there'll still be theaters around, but go to a theater to offer something that is not the possibility for you to get at home. Like you can't build a fucking IMAX in your living room. So like taking your kid to, they're still going. What's up?
I wouldn't recommend it.
Oh yeah, you could try, but it'd be pretty sketchy. That would be that'd be something to see, actually, dude. To go into somebody's house and see like a home built fucking IMAX, dude. Wow.
I would be that guy too. My wife was like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'll tell you when I'm done.
So yeah, man. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. Like I said, I'm supposed to be watching the boy. The wife, she's actually working a little bit. And me, I got a whole lot of nothing going on.
Hey, if you hear somebody yelling, that's my son. So my fiance just brought my son in here to hold while she makes some food.
Nice. Food's a good thing.
Yeah, especially in these. Look, Chaos said he still likes movie theaters though, mostly because he can't pause. I mean, there is something to be said for immersion and engagement, because I feel like you get a lot more engaged when you're at the movie theater because there's no distraction. Like you're not really allowed to be interrupted or distracted.
You're dedicated.
Yeah, you're
committed. I'm gonna watch this thing.
Yeah, so it's kind of like locking all the doors and fucking closing all the blinds and fucking getting into like watching a movie. It's hard to do that at home when people can knock on the door, you know, now the phone rings, someone, you know, gets a call, or one of your kids tries to drop kick the other kid off of like something, you know, tries to kill.
That's what I notice when I'm watching my Formula One. You know, Formula One, to watch it in its entirety will take anywhere from, you know, around 2 to 2.5 hours to watch. And during that time, you know that there's going to be a distraction while you're at home. It's inevitable.
Yeah, so I mean, there's something to be said for both. So
sure, yeah, no, and that's what I mean. Is I could actually see me taking advantage of that option if it was ever, you know, given to me, in the sense of, you know, hey, look, if you wanted to, would you stream it? I could see me doing it on certain things, but like again, I like going out. I like, you know, feeling that noise and seeing things that are beyond my peripheral, or at least, you know, filling it up. And I dig that. Yeah. But, you know, you know, again, I'm also older too. So, you know.
He said that nostalgia factor, man, you know, sitting in the seats, walking in with the stickiness, you know.
Exactly.
Sticky, swag.
If your shoes don't stick to the bottom of the floor when you try to leave, then it ain't fun.
Like, come on, man. You know, we all need that. You're always scared that the one guy with the flashlight's going to come and like shine you in the face with it and bust you for sneaking in snacks that you know you shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Who's going to say in the chat that they have never snuck in a snack to a movie theater?
Oh man, I think you know what? If someone said they didn't, I'd actually be rather surprised.
I'd be suspicious of their character. Usually you'd say the opposite, but I would be suspicious of them if they said that they had never snuck like a candy, nothing, no snacks, no peanut, nothing.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
Yeah, that would just be.
Yeah, because then, you know, then none of those places have what you want.
Yeah, What if you like beef jerky, dude? Like they don't got beef jerky at the the snack counter.
That's right.
So see, look, Scott Evans said guilty.
But I mean, it's really what it boils down to is what you're saying. One, they don't always facilitate what you want, and then two, it's what you were saying before. You already know you're committing to like $100 adventure. So when you go to hit that snack bar, you're going, okay, this is where it's going to hurt.
Yeah, you're like, this is like 33% of the whole fucking night, dude. Is gonna be fucking like one thing of popcorn, a drink, and like you tell the kids that they gotta get a candy bar and like break it in half and split it and shit because it was like fucking $9 and shit.
And every time I show up, it's always the same thing. I always have this same routine. Okay, I want a Coke and a hot dog and popcorn. Like we haven't even got to the counter yet.
You're like, what snacks we're getting? The Reese cups, dude, because it breaks in two.
Oh, they know it. There's this set. It's like a set. How should I say?
A movie budget.
Well, you already know that there's like a set. I don't want to say rations, but you already know that you get. There's this whole set menu of items that you get every time, and that's me. I have this list that I get every time. I get my own soda. I just
Okay,
so it gets costly.
Follow-up question: what's your favorite movie snack?
See, I'm a popcorn guy. I can't help myself. So when I show up there, it's always the same thing. I get my popcorn. I get my soda. Every once in a while, I'll get a hot dog.
What do you put on your popcorn?
I'm just pretty much a butter guy. A lot of butter. But the wife, she loves the salt, and the kids, they like. Now, one thing we have snuck in is those shakers where you put on your own shaking, flavoring stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll bring in different flavors of shit, and they'll just sneak that inside the purses. And
there you go, gourmet popcorn on the go.
Yeah. So it's a nice blend of bringing your own stuff and then using their stuff too.
Well, that's not fully cheating.
No, it's not.
I mean, if you go to like a place that serves, and you sneak in a condiment, that's showing respect to the place. You're like, look, you just don't got the condiments that I need.
Right. I like the strawberry jelly one, and all you have is strawberry or
yeah. I'm still coming to eat your food, but I got to bring my own I got to bring my own butter.
That's right.
Your exactly. Butter is not quite right.
And don't mind that actually the butter's from the next restaurant.
Yeah, don't mind this from this other movie theater and shit.
Oh man. So hey, don't you have you still doing your auctions at midnight?
Yeah, but I'm organizing right now for that event next week, so I'm pretty much holding off everything until then.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I saw that you were doing that for a few nights in a row. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be getting soon, that I'm going to end up having to put in some stuff myself, start getting rid of some stuff. Because
well, let me know, man. I mean, I'll be doing midnight market 3 times. Well, probably like 2 or 3 times a week. I might even cut it down to 1 because I feel like going 3 times a week is kind of a lot. But probably cut down midnight market to 1 time a week. And then we'll also still be doing the community pop-up. So JB does his community pop-up 1 time every month, but we'll be still doing one every weekend for the community. So any of you guys that are trying to, in your situation, like you're saying, or anything like you're trying to
clear out,
make some changes in your collection, and offload some of the stuff that you're no longer collecting or reading and give it a happy home, then, come hang out with us. And there's lots of people out there who would love to have the books that you probably are no longer collecting, so you'd be surprised.
Yeah, I'm as I've been going through it, I've been coming across stuff that I was like, you know what, I'm sure there's people that dig some of this stuff. So yeah, probably will be happening pretty soon, especially since I've had some time to go through it.
Yeah, that's what I'm pretty much about to be doing over the next week. Is I have like 3 long boxes here that I need to organize. So
Cool. Well, hey, man, I'm going to get going. It was nice hanging out and rapping with you. We appreciate the community hanging out with us. And, you got anything you want to tell the community?
no, man, just shout out to, I don't know if any of my Patreons or anything are in the chat, but shout out to my Patreons. I got like 5 or 6 of them now. Making
Nice.
you guys a bumper, so be on the lookout for that this week when I drop my formalized schedule. Shout out to everybody who's been coming through Midnight Market and supporting us, picking up books. Because, like I'm saying, I'm doing YouTube full time now, so this is kind of one of the ways that I'm supplementing my income until I get monetized. So, yeah, if you interested in picking up, any my boxes or anything like that, just reach out to me and I'll build you a custom little box, man. So
cool.
Yeah, hit me up.
All right, man. Well, hey, community, you take care, and we're out from 1-2 Comic Talk. You take care. Thanks for hanging out.